There's a 17-year-old kid right now who half the football world is calling the next Messi. Not a comment on a random Instagram clip, not one lone scout getting carried away. Coaches, journalists, rival academies, all saying the same name, all within the last few weeks. And look, normally, I'd tell you to close this tab. Every single year, some club drops a highlight reel, slaps next Messi on some kid, and by next season, nobody remembers his name. It's the most overused label in football, and it usually means nothing. This one's different, because this kid's story isn't a highlight reel. It's a story that sounds like someone made it up. A baby who survived one of the deadliest natural disasters this century has ever seen. A kid with zero Argentine blood, who's now on track to break a piece of history that Argentina's national team hasn't touched in over 100 years. So which is it? Is this real, or is this just the internet doing what the internet does, inventing a legend before the kids even played a full professional match? Today, we go all the way back to the beginning, the real story of Steven Kiki Ramos, where he came from, how in God's name he ended up wearing the Argentina badge, and exactly why, right now, this name will not stop trending. Rewind to April 3rd, 2009, Port-au-Prince, Haiti. That's where Kiki was born. And less than a year later, Haiti was hit by one of the deadliest earthquakes in modern history, a disaster that killed an estimated 306,000 people. Kiki was months old. He couldn't walk, couldn't talk, has zero memory of any of it. But that earthquake is the exact reason his entire life exists the way it does today. Here's the detail that stops people cold. An Argentine family had already started adopting him before the earthquake hit. So this isn't some tragedy-triggered rescue story. The process was already moving. The disaster just happened to strike in the middle of it. At 8 months old, Kiki left Haiti behind and landed in Buenos Aires, into a family that would raise him 100% Argentine, culturally, emotionally, completely. And make no mistake, he is Argentine. Listen to him talk. That accent is pure Buenos Aires, thick as anyone born 3 blocks from a concha. This isn't a foreign transplant chasing a passport of convenience. This is a kid raised on asado, on Argentine rivalries, on Argentine dreams, from the time he could barely walk. When the Haitian Football Federation came calling, trying to pull him into their national setup, he said no, flat out. Argentina, in his own words, is what gave him his family, his culture, his football. That loyalty was never up for negotiation. This isn't the story of a kid chasing an opportunity. It's the story of a kid who knows exactly who raised him and isn't afraid to say it. So how does a kid go from an adopted baby to a name every scout in South America is suddenly obsessing over? It starts absurdly small. A neighbor, a Vélez Sarsfield fan who lived nearby, who did nothing more than walk a 6-year-old down to Liniers to kick a ball around. Nobody's writing headlines about that. For years, Kiki was just another face in one of the most brutal, most competitive youth pipelines in South American football. Hundreds of kids chasing the same dream. Most of them never make it out. But by his early teens, people inside the club couldn't ignore what they were watching. This wasn't a subtle talent, explosive first step, physically built ahead of kids his own age, and a style that either gets a young player benched by a nervous coach or turns him into the most exciting name in the building. He wanted the ball, wanted the defender in front of him, and wanted to go at him, every single time. That's when the Vinicius Jr. comparisons started. Not lazy hype. The actual shape of his game, left winger, cuts inside, wants to beat you off the dribble before he even considers the pass. Then 2025 hit him with a gut punch. Injuries. His development stalled right when the momentum was building. It could have ended there. It's ended 100 careers just like his. Instead, he came back and delivered his best season yet. 12 goals in Vélez's youth competition. Numbers loud enough that the national team setup couldn't keep looking away. In 2026, U17 coach Diego Placente pulled him into a training microcycle at Argentina's Ezeiza complex. Just a look. But weeks later came the real callop, a friendly against Ecuador in Buenos Aires. Kiki came off the bench, got his minutes, and in a 2-1 Argentina win, he scored his first cap, his first goal, and with it, history. The first Haiti-born player to ever represent an Argentine national team at any age level in the entire history of the AFA. Not a rumor, a fact stamped into the record books. Now here's where this stops being just a football story. More than 100 years of Argentine national teams, multiple World Cups, legendary squads, and in all that history, the number of black players who've worn the shirt? You can count the significant names on one hand. Alejandro de los Santos, descended from enslaved Angolans, was part of Argentina's Copa America winning squad back in 1925. Decades later, José Ramos Delgado, son of a Cape Verdean father, captained Argentina through the 1960s, played 2 World Cups, and lined up alongside Pelé himself at Santos. Hector Bailey kept goal for Argentina at the 1978 World Cup. That's it. 4 names. A century. When a 17-year-old Haitian-Argentine winger suddenly breaks into that same national setup, at the exact moment Argentine football is being forced to reckon with its own history of prejudice. Of course, people are going to ask the hard question. Is this real, or is this a convenient headline, timed perfectly to distract from bad press? Let's look at what actually happened, in order. Kiki has been inside the Vélez Academy since he was 6. His name was already circulating inside the club years before this became a national conversation. That 12-goal breakout season? It happened before the callop, not manufactured after it as damage control. The timeline simply does not support the cynical read. If anything, the surrounding conversation gave his story a louder microphone. It didn't build his career. The career was already there, quietly, patiently, one youth team season at a time. Kiki hasn't dodged the uncomfortable part either. He's spoken openly about hearing prejudiced comments about his skin color since he was a kid, and says he's learned to answer it with humor rather than let it break him. Say that out loud, at 17, wearing the colors of the country you fought to represent. That takes something. To be fair, this conversation inside Argentina isn't settled, and it shouldn't be. Some see Kiki as real, overdue proof of change. Others are asking the tougher question, does one breakthrough at U17 level actually translate into lasting change at the senior team? Both sides have a legitimate point. Nobody's pretending this is wrapped up with a bow. Strip the politics away for 1 second, because the pure football reason people are obsessed is just as real. Explosive pace, physical strength that's ahead of his age group, a one-on-one instinct that most 17-year-olds simply don't have, wanting the ball with a defender staring him down, not hiding from it. A finishing touch already proven at 12 goals a season in a genuinely competitive league. The Vinicius comparisons aren't manufactured. They're describing an actual, recognizable identity. Direct, fearless, always attacking the fullback, every single time down the wing. His idol? Not some tactics board pick. Neymar. A flair player who grew up idolizing a flair player. Watch 2 minutes of tape and it makes perfect sense. Let's actually answer the question in the title because you clicked for a reason. Honestly, no. Nobody is the next Messi. Messi is a once-in-history outlier, and pinning his name on us, people reach for the biggest name in the sport to describe it. Because Kiki is still developing in the youth ranks. There's a real technical gap to close before anyone can seriously talk about a jump to senior professional football, let alone a senior national, and isn't unreasonable. Football, that's the brutal statistical norm, but it's also full of the opposite story. 17-year-olds who were just another academy name 1 year, and full internationals starring at a World Cup a couple of years later. Nobody, not me, not you, not a single scout watching him, can tell you today which path Kiki takes. Closer than any senior World Cup dream, though, is the next real checkpoint. A spot on the final squad for the U17 World Cup in Qatar later this year. That's the test in front of him right now. And here's the weight sitting underneath it. If he keeps developing anywhere near this pace, he's not just chasing a future Argentina callop somewhere down the road. He'd become the first black player in over a century to represent Argentina at a senior World Cup. Read that back. Everything else is still just potential, waiting to be proven. Cut through the noise, and here's the truth. Kiki Ramos did not get discovered because of a controversy. The controversy found him, because his story happened to land at the exact moment Argentina was already confronting its history with race in football. But the career itself, the goals, the callops, the style-pulling Vinicius comparisons, all of that was already in motion, built quietly inside a youth academy, long before any of this ever became a headline. Now it's your turn. Do you think Kiki Ramos becomes one of the truly great names to wear the Argentina shirt? Or is it way too early to put this much weight on a 17-year-old kid? Drop your take in the comments. I actually want to know where you land on this. If this video helped you understand the full story, smash the like button, subscribe if you're not already in, and let's keep building this channel together. See you in the next one.